So yeah, I was thinking about doing a podcast for the NFL season and quit my job and be a sports writer, even though I don't know how to spell. But those are dreams. We all dream. Uh, anyway, I wanted to share with you guys, my audience, which is probably nobody, my thoughts about Week One. Week One being in the NFL season. I sat here. I guess I'm going to start from the last game that I saw with my very own eyes here. Arizona. Arizona versus New England. New England uh, traveling to Arizona. Arizona, to me, being the Super Bowl contender, Super Bowl favorite in my eyes, hopefully. They've been a sleeper for the last couple of seasons. I respect Arians. I don't know why, but I think he's doing a very good job with a team that's been mediocre at best the last couple of seasons. And right now, before anything, I usually just take a look at the teams and I make an educated guess or uneducated guess who's gonna win and whatever. And this game, I took a look and I said, you know what? Do I believe in New England's system with or without Brady, or do I believe in Arizona as a real contender and a team? I made a decision. The spread when I took it down was at 9.5. Arizona at 9. I'm sorry, 9. Just regular 9. Just 9, no hook. Which actually was a big difference from when I first took it down, which is Arizona minus 6 points. So the line actually moves 3 points. I'm guessing that's from the news that Gronkowski was going to be out and not going to be playing. He didn't travel with the team. He didn't make an appearance. He was not there. Which basically means that the Patriots were going to have to do it with just the team they have, the backup quarterback, the backup tight end, the backup this and that and the other. So basically, they're relying on the system. The next man up, yada, yada, yada. Arizona on the other team, a contender last year. They made the conference championship. I'm thinking they're going to be strong. It's just a year older, a year better. I was wrong. I went with uh, actually, I picked New England in my picks, but I still feel like I was wrong. I picked New England to cover. They didn't cover. They barely won. I'm just watching this interview here. Hmm. Now Julian Edelman here. The system. I love you, mom. I love it. Anyway, so that's the little interview. Okay, they got it done. They barely won, but still, they got the win. I mean, they were supposed to lose according to Vegas, almost double digits, but they got it. They got it done. So I picked New England to win, but I picked them to cover, which is the biggest important reason here because the spread was so huge. I mean, you had to stand on one side of the line, and I was unfortunately on the wrong side of the line. I picked Arizona. I thought Arizona can get it done. Like I said, I have high hopes for these guys. It didn't get it done. It just didn't happen. Um, Big surprise on my part. So basically, what it's telling me is this: it's telling me New England is a team that can do it with the next man up. They have the system down. Bill Belichick, I hate the motherfucker, but I respect the motherfucker because they win. They win with fucking Joe Schmo at the fucking helm or whoever the fuck's up. Next man up. It's the system. I don't know. Arizona, they didn't get it done, and that was kind of shocking to me. I mean, like I said, I had high hopes for these guys, and just didn't it didn't happen. Um, I'm gonna jump back over to the beginning of week one, and then we'll just keep going on from there. Just my thoughts. I mean, what I think is going on, or what my thought was. I didn't get to pick a game. It was Thursday night. I didn't pick a winner or a line or one side or the other or even an over under. I picked up the line at Carolina winning by 3.5. Over under doesn't really matter much. I don't really put much evaluation on over under. Just for the record, I went over with the New England game and it was a 44. I think it went over. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't wrote the scores down. I think it did go over. It was like 20 to 20 something, so it was 44. It was right around there, so I mean, they were right on. Doesn't matter if I went over or under. I went with the over. I think it was over, or it might have been just under. So, just for the record, like I said. Um, Back to the Carolina versus Denver game, the rematch, if you will. Yada, yada, yada. I watched the game. I watched it pretty good. You know, Denver came and they did it. Denver 20-21. Um, Denver wins. I don't really see. Let me see. Just for the record, I didn't pick the game one way or the other. But if I would have probably picked Carolina. I think Carolina is. Well, I mean, this is the second. It's the game after the Super Bowl. Super Bowl was obviously not won by Carolina, and it was won by Denver. Denver came back and they won it. They won against, I think, a very good Carolina team. They've done again. It was a tight score, like I said, 20-21. Just a tough loss for Cam Newton and Carolina. I mean, I think they have some sort of a legitimate point. The biggest story that came out of this game was the amount of uh, hard hits that Cam Newton got hit with. They were hard hits. I saw some of them. I saw a couple of them. Okay, maybe he's not getting the calls. He is a big guy. Maybe he had a smaller guy. Maybe they would have gotten more flags drawn on the guy. I think they do have a point. Um, is it a big deal? No, in the continuum and the spectrum of things, it's not a big deal. But I mean, in this point, being a 1 point game, it could have made a difference. Could have made a difference. The officiating has to be more consistent. I mean, stick with I suppose a game plan and just do it from there. Um, and that's it. I mean, that's off the top of my head. That's all I can remember from that particular game. Now we're gonna go back into Sunday. Sunday was no Saturday game. Sunday we're gonna go into Sunday afternoon games. Let's start with the first one on my list. I have Tampa Bay here versus Atlanta at Atlanta. Atlanta being a tough place to play. Atlanta, they had a run at the championship a few years ago. They're a couple of seasons removed from that, a couple of years removed from that. The score ended up being 31-24. Uh, 31-24. So Tampa Bay actually, and I went to the local establishments here with a Sunday ticket, and I got a chance to see a lot of these games in the afternoon. There was played. I want to say maybe there was nine. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I believe it was nine. 9 games I get to see on the television. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to say. So there was three of them that I didn't get to see. This one I did get to see. I was going back and forth between the screens. Just a swivel of the head, this and that. Tampa Bay pulled it off. Jameis Winston looks good to me. The team in general looks good to me. Not to say that Atlanta's a tough opponent anymore, but just on the side note, I did have Tampa Bay in a prop bet for a few bucks and down in Vegas, just because Jameis Winston looks like he could develop into something special. I mean, the guy's pretty good, in my opinion. So the only thing I got to say about that game in particular, from what I can remember, the next game on my list was the Miami Tennessee game. Let me just go back here. The line on this game was a Tampa game was Atlanta on -3 point. That was probably so they opened up. I think Atlanta -2.5 by the time the line broke. So people were taking Tampa Bay. It looks like it was shifting down that way, but Atlanta still came out as a favorite at the end by the time the game went off. And Atlanta actually just outright lost. They just outright lost. They were just outplayed at home. Tough loss. What can you say? Miami opened up Miami -2 and ended up beating it. Miami -2.5. I ended up taking Tennessee plus the points. Tennessee just couldn't make it. Miami, I mean Tannehill. I saw some of that game. Tannehill, I have a lot of respect for the guy. He's doing pretty good. There's a lot of key parts in Miami that at this point in the game they could be contender. They look good. They beat a mediocre Tennessee team with Mariota at the helm. I don't remember if there was a lot of defensive plays. I don't think there was. I just think it was a superior offense that took over and won that game for them off the top of my head. Um, let's see, Cleveland versus Philly. Okay, I did see a lot. I actually didn't want to pay more attention to this game. Um, Philadelphia 29 points, Cleveland only 10. At the beginning, from what I remember, let me just go with the line here first. Philadelphia -3.5, and then a 3.5. So Philadelphia's supposed to be well, they were a forward. They're the home team favorite. It's pretty standard 3.5, whatever. Um, Philadelphia won. They won 10-29. Cleveland kept it close for the first half, if that. But Philly just took over the game. Nothing defensively that I can remember. Like I said, I wanted to pay more attention to this game, but it was just in the corner from the establishment that I was going at. Didn't really get to see much of the game, but I did have some high hopes for Cleveland, adding RG3 to their rosters, but it just didn't happen. I didn't see any spectacular plays. They had some wide receiver guys that I think were added. I wanted to say, but it just didn't happen, and it was a pretty bad loss for Cleveland. I mean, nothing special that I saw anywhere from their play. Cincinnati and the Jets. This was actually right behind me. Didn't get to see a lot of this game. I did see glimpses and passes of this. Cincinnati as a favorite by 2.5 points when the line broke. By the time it went down to one. They were still a road dog favorite by 1 point, which I thought was kind of interesting. I went with the Jets at home with the point, and score being 23-22. Um, Good tight game. I think if I remember right, the Jets were the Jets were pretty much in control with the score wise. I think they they kept the score pretty tight. I mean, it was a close game all the way through, but the Jets were in the lead for most of the game. At the end of the game, like I said, I didn't see a lot of this game, but I think Cincinnati had some clutch points at the end that ended up winning it. I didn't note down here if it went to overtime or not. I remember there was a key safety in one of these games, and I do not remember if it was in this one or if it was another one. Um, the only thing, the biggest takeaway that I can think about here is Cincinnati's still good. Jets are obviously better than what the league thinks. Keeping it that close at home. But yeah, I mean, I would say, in the overall, the biggest takeaway is the Jets are probably overachieving, even though they did lose. Cincinnati, well, we all know that Cincinnati's pretty good with Andy Dalton and the crew, and all the attention they've been getting from the media and all that. So, um, moving on here, Oakland at New Orleans, another game that went down to the wire. I think this one did go into overtime. This might have been the game that I was talking about with the safety to end it. Oakland, in my eyes, was looking really good at the end of the season. Just didn't have enough season left to make a difference in the postseason or to make it to the postseason. 35 to 34 was the end game. Oakland winning a road game, which is good for them. The line opened up in New Orleans -1. By the time the game went off, it was New Orleans -2.5. So people were picking up. Um, I think they were. Well, that just goes to show you what was going on with the line there. Um, this game was not being shown at the establishment that I was at. I haven't seen any highlights on it or anything like that, or I did see a few, but just very limited amount. I really don't have much to say about this except like Oakland's doing a great job. New Orleans actually looks like they're doing much better, according to the score that I'm seeing, just strictly the numbers and the few highlights that I've seen. Oakland did end up winning the game, but New Orleans kept it close by 1 point. I think that's a huge improvement from something that they've done in the past from week 1 of the last season. So even though Oakland won, New Orleans looks like they did do something in the direction of improvement. The next game I have here is San Diego versus Kansas City. This game was not broadcasted where I was sitting. I did not get a chance to see anything. I did not hear any highlights of this game at all. Kansas City wins 33 to 27. Wish I had more to say about this game, but the only thing I can see is Kansas City was favored by 6.5. It stayed at 6.5. Game did go over, so it was high scoring. Um, San Diego loses one in a game where they should have actually lost. I think this, it's so Kansas City continues doing well. San Diego keeping it pretty close, putting some points on this board. That's all I can really say about this one. I didn't really get to watch it, like I said. Um, it seems to me like Kansas City did good. San Diego against a contender team doing well. So you can't discount San Diego being a shit team because they did fine. They did fine. They lost. I think this was an overtime game. That's all I really got to say in that one. I don't. Like I said, I didn't see much of that. Next game that I have here is Buffalo at Dallas. Dallas had the new rookie guy. I don't even remember the guy's name. No, Buffalo at Baltimore. I'm sorry, there we go. I'm reading this in the dark here. Buffalo at Baltimore. So Baltimore pulls off the win, if I remember right. It was a low scoring affair, 13-7. Baltimore taking the win. Buffalo. Um, Baltimore opened up at 3 points. By the end of the game, by the time the game went off, it was 3.5. I want to say. No, it was three. So I mean, the line stayed pretty much put. So Buffalo was supposed to win by 3.5. Is that right? Buffalo or Baltimore? Baltimore. Baltimore won by 6 points. So that's it. I mean, I actually this game was on, but the game was switched. so I didn't catch any of this. It was a low scoring affair. There's really not anything to write home about this one. I wish I can tell you more about it, but I don't really know much about the win or about the teams here. This is probably the least one that I can talk to you about, fortunately. But at least we have it in record books here. Baltimore takes a home win, 7-13. That's it. Okay, Chicago at Houston. I'm from Chicago, and I love the Bears, and everybody in this town does. If you don't, just get out of town. Houston, interesting game for me being a Cubs and Bears fan. They were both down in Houston, and they both actually won. Or actually, no, the Cubs won, but the Bears didn't. Bears had a hell of a good half. Played well in the first half. A game and the score was 14-23, so they lost with more than a touchdown. So Houston actually did win, and they did cover. Houston didn't hear much about J.J. Watt. I mean, I have much respect for J.J. Watt in Houston and all that, but it just did. I didn't see much about him or anything like that. Bears playing Bears. They basically didn't do enough to win the game. They had a game plan. It's just at halftime they adjusted, or Houston adjusted, and the US came back and just outplayed the Bears. And that was a bad loss, I think, for the Bears because the whole NFC North just has an easy schedule. Is this one was this one notched as a win? You really can't say. But it's. I mean, it is what it is. Houston winning a game at home, and the Bears losing a game that they probably would have been. You know, they were probably. Houston is. I really don't want to say Houston's a superior team, but the score shows that they are. I guess we can just leave it at that. Green Bay and Dallas. Okay, so I did watch this game. Had a lot of interest in it. It kind of did go back and forth and back and forth. Green Bay 27-23. Green Bay was a 5.5 point favorite, which is actually pretty high spread for this week. I think the biggest line was Seattle at 10. Second biggest line was New England with the Gronk news at 9.5 or whatever it was. But aside from those two, this one was up there along with the Bears. Green Bay ended up. The line did move to 3, so Green Bay lost some points there. Green Bay ended up winning 27-23. Jacksonville looking pretty strong against a tough Green Bay team. Um, so Green Bay did win. They did have some key plays, looking like a good team with the running the ball and then passing the ball. I mean, they were very balanced in my opinion, coming from a team that throws or that you think that throws a whole bunch, but they were still running the ball pretty well. Is all I can remember from that game. Jacksonville Bortles. I mean, the guy's gonna be a future All Star. Maybe it's to tell that, but it's Jacksonville looking hell of a lot better from last year to this year. So I mean, I want to see Green Bay did win, but Jacksonville, you know, showing us that they can contend. For now, I'm gonna leave it at that. I have to get back and get into my book and just remember what happened in the second half of the games, and I'll get back to you guys um, with some more insights and scores and thoughts. This is the first part of my show, and I hope we have more of this in the future. All right, see you guys in a bit.